Yo, I was trying to find the optimal DPS rotation for Ningguang, and I couldn't find any deep sources on it. So here's my take. Let's start with the basic combat mechanics. The numbers here are based on my talents and may be different from yours. I will be using a weak weapon to demonstrate the points better. Every normal attack shields twice for 35% of her attack damage and generates 1 star jade, up to a maximum of 3. Those star jades will be visible as rocks floating around her. On a charge attack, those star jades will be used up and deal 62% of attack per star jade consumed. The charge attack itself also hits for 218%. If you have at least 1 star jade available, the charge attack will cost no stamina. Her elemental skill creates a wall that deals damage and blocks projectiles. It will also give you a 15% damage buff for Geo after Ascension level 4. Her elemental burst fires a bunch of rocks at the enemy. If you have the wall up, it will turn to a turret and shoot more rocks. From these mechanics, it is already clear that we have to follow 2 rules. Number 1, only charge attack with at least 1 star jade. This is done so we never use any stamina and can go on forever. Number 2 is to only use our elemental burst when we have the elemental wall up. This ensures maximum damage from the turret. The only question we still need to answer is how many normal attacks we should do between each charge attack. To calculate the optimal amount, we need to know exactly how long each charge attack and a normal attack takes. While looking at the videos to determine the frame data, I noticed a funny thing. Usually a normal attack takes pretty much exactly 60 frames, which is 1 second. However, if I held down the forward key while spamming the attack key like a madman, it would automatically animation cancel every single attack. This increased the normal attack speed to about 45 frames. That's a whopping 33% DPS increase just by holding down the forward key. Of course, we also need to know how long a charge attack takes. It's surprisingly quick at 40 frames, which may be due to the fact that it automatically cancels the animation by using a normal attack after. Following is a short demonstration. Based on all the data we have collected so far, I created this Google Sheet to calculate just how many normal attacks you should use before using a charged attack. On the far right side you can see all my talent and frame data. It's variable so that I can adjust the values once I level them up. The 1000 attack is just a nice number for the percentages to work off, but it has no real impact on the calculation except linear scale. In the next box you can see the options for the simulation on the left. The first one is the animation cancel, which should pretty much always be on since that's how you play in a real situation. The second one is much more important. It determines how many normal attacks the simulation does before it does a charge attack, which is right now at 3. Coming to the simulation itself, the first column is attack. It just dictates which attack we're currently using. As we selected a 3 here, it's 1, 2, 3 and then a charge. Damage is the damage the attack does. This includes the flying shards for charge attacks. The next one is just the amount of time every ability needs, which is in seconds. The star jade column tells us how many star jades we have in reserve after using the ability. See, it goes up 1, goes up 1, goes up 1, goes to 0. The last 3 columns are just accumulators to determine the DPS. The only thing that's left is the results table, which should be fairly obvious. I will now do a full set of simulations to test how the DPS is affected by the charge number. Since the simulation for 3 is already active, we can just write down the average DPS for that one. Star Jades 3, 2, 1. Hoagie DPS. Let's make it bigger a bit so we can actually see. Make it fat as well. And the first one is 2074. Calculating for 2. Which is already 2198. Then for 1. 2447. Looking at the numbers, you can clearly see that using less normal attacks between charge attacks is probably going to be more DPS. It's a jump of about 5% between 3 and 2, about 120 DPS. But then it's a big jump of another 220 or so to 1, which makes it an increase of about 15% just using alternating normal and charge attacks. We can also do 0. However, 0 is not really feasible because first of all we run out of stamina after 4 or 5 attacks, which is pretty bad. Also, it's not easy to animation cancel, if it's even possible, between charge attacks. So even if this number is very high, it's not really of use to us. Using that data, we can arrive at the following 4 rules for optimum DPS on Ningguang. Number 1, alternate normal and charge attacks. This will allow you to spam charge attacks as often as possible, while still having stamina to dodge. Number 2, use the elemental skill, that is the wall, on cooldown, which is pretty much the same for all characters. And then we have number 3, which is to use our elemental burst only when the wall is active. Again, so it turns into a turret and shoots more crystals. And the last one is that we should always be moving forward or to any side when we are spamming normal attacks, which could be, for example, during movement or whatever. And that should be about it. I hope you enjoyed this rather dry topic as much as I did, and I wish you lots of fun with your stone waifu.